Hey, welcome back to my channel. This is Eddie with Guarantee, and today we're doing another market update for the city of Fresno, city of Clovis. You're not going to want to miss it. Stay tuned. All right, so let's jump right into it. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at single-family homes for the city of Fresno and the city of Clovis. We're going to be taking a look at price per square foot and months of inventory. We're also going to be taking a look at very specific zip codes. Thank you for the suggestions, you viewers out there. If you have any specific zip codes, message me or email me and be happy to feature that in the next video. As far as the zip codes, we're taking a look at 4 specific zip codes for Fresno and 2 very specific zip codes in Clovis. All right, let's get going. All right, so what's happening for the entire city of Fresno? Let's take a look at the data. Let's take a look at what's happening in our city of Fresno. Price per square foot, it looks like as of June, price per square foot hit $242 a square foot. If you look at the trend year over year, it's starting to go up towards where we were during the pandemic. Like I said in my last market update, there are a couple different factors you need to be aware of, especially if you're in the market to buy. Also, if you're in the market to sell, everybody's waiting for the rates to go down, and we're going to talk about that later in the video. But it looks like price per square foot for the entire city of Fresno is trending upward. All right, so let's see what's happening with the amount of homes for sale, the months of inventory for the city of Fresno. As of last month, it looks like we're just over 1 month's worth of inventory. If you've been paying attention to my channel and you watched the last market update, you would have seen that there are a couple different factors that are affecting inventory, the lack of vacancy, as well as migration, and it looks like that's going to be the case for a little while longer. Okay, we're just over a month, 1.3 in terms of months of inventory, and moving forward, inventory is more than likely going to continue to be an issue. All right, so let's take a look at some specific zip codes in the city of Fresno. Let's take a look at 93711, which happens to be the Bullard High School Van Ness Extension zip code. Let's take a look at the price per square foot. What do we got? As of June, looks like the price per square foot is $239. This area tends to have a lot of established neighborhoods, pride of ownership, a lot of mature landscaping, bigger lot sizes, something to consider as you're looking for your home in different parts of Fresno. You can see from our chart in 93711 in March, it shot up all the way up to $270 a square foot. There typically isn't a whole lot of turnover in the 93711 zip code. So if you're interested in that zip code, make sure you're working with a realtor that knows the area and we can point you in the right direction. All right, so let's take a look at the 93704 zip code, which is considered the Old Fig Garden zip code of Fresno. 93704 is a very interesting zip code because there's a lot of diversity in terms of the type of properties that are in this zip code. It's also a landmark in Fresno, a very popular neighborhood. It's very close to one of the only Whole Foods in Fresno, very close to our office in Fig Garden, as well as hosts Christmas Tree Lane usually every year. So let's take a look at what's happening in 93704. Let's take a look, and as of June, we're looking at $240 a square foot. Now, what's interesting about this trend is if you look at what's happening year over year, it looks pretty consistent. There isn't a whole lot of extremes in this zip code, and that's because, once again, there's not a whole lot of turnover. A lot of people like living in Old Fig. It's a tree-lined street. It's a beautiful area, and there's a lot of really beautiful custom craftsman homes in this specific zip code. All right, so let's talk about the next zip code. We're going to take a look at 93720. This zip code is an interesting one. It's really close to Woodward Park. It's also close to River Park and Edward Cinema. Lots of shopping. It's a very popular area. Let's take a look at what the trends are showing us. Price per square foot Looks like as of last month, $244 a square foot. It's gone down just a little bit. That could be for a couple different reasons. Turnover as well as the rates going up a little bit a couple weeks ago. And consistently though, we're seeing an upward trend from the spring and into the summer. It looks like averaging $245 a square foot. So keep that in mind. All right, so let's take a look at one of the last zip codes I'm going to feature for Fresno on today's video. It's 93722. This is considered northwest Fresno. This is a very interesting area because we're starting to see turnover in that area, but it's an area that is booming with development. What's controversial about this area is it's going to host one of the biggest Costco's in the state of California, right here in our home city of Fresno. There is also a big Target shopping center there, and it's very close to the 99 freeway. So let's take a look at what's happening in 93722. If we look at the price per square foot, looks like the price per square foot is going up. As of June, price per square foot hit $246 a square foot, and that's really only $10 lower than the peak of where it hit during the pandemic. Something to consider, especially if you're living in the 93722 and you're considering moving. There is a lot of controversy, like I said, because of the new Costco, pluses and minuses, and that's just something that you're gonna have to think about moving forward. All right, so let's see what's happening in the city of Clovis. Let's take a look at the price per square foot for single family homes in Clovis. It looks like as of last month, price per square foot hit $268 a square foot. The trend shows that things are moving upward, which is no surprise. There's a lot of interest in Clovis. Clovis is also booming, a lot of growth. There's a lot of interest, especially for first-time home buyers and families looking to move into Clovis due to Clovis schools. So one thing to consider moving forward is if you're thinking about purchasing in Clovis, it may be better to purchase sooner than later. As you can see from year over year, things are starting to go up towards where they were during the pandemic. All right, let's take a look at months of inventory. What's happening with the months of inventory in Clovis? Another big no surprise. Months of inventory hit just little over a month's worth of inventory. It's remained pretty stagnant since March. Not a whole lot of inventory, not a whole lot of homes, more homes, I should say, for sale than there has been since March. So that's 4 months worth of inventory. 4 months of the inventory being relatively the same. Like I said, there's a lot of interest in Clovis. A lot of families are moving to Clovis, and there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of turnover in that market specifically. All right, so let's take a look at two specific zip codes in Clovis. One of the zip codes that I picked was 93611. This zip code happens to be in the heart of Clovis Unified School District. If we look at the price per square foot as of last month, price per square foot hit $260 a square foot. Another big no surprise, things are going up in Clovis. Okay, let's take a look at one of the last zip codes I picked for Clovis. This is an extremely popular zip code in Clovis. It hosts a very popular neighborhood that we refer to as Hardin Ranch. There's once again lots of new construction happening northwest of there. Price per square foot for 93619 looks like as of June hit $270 a square foot. Went down just a little bit since the month of May, but still consistently moving in the upward trend. Also something to consider if you're looking in Clovis and moving forward. Once again, if you compare year over year, we're starting to creep up towards where we were during the pandemic. It's really important you keep that in mind moving forward. Okay, so what are some key takeaways from our video? If you've been paying attention, hopefully you've really picked up on the fact that not all zip codes are created equal, especially specifically within each city, right? There's a lot of variability. It's really important that you work with the realtor that understands the area and that's actually doing the homework for you, especially in the process of shopping and formulating what to offer for a specific property, right? It's really important that you look at the data, that your realtor is providing you that data, and that you sit down with your realtor and you go over what's happening in that neighborhood. Does it make sense to invest in that neighborhood? You know, and taking a look at the price per square foot and inventory. If you're on a timeline, it's really important you look at the inventory, because if you're trying to get situated into a home for a job change, or maybe it's in summertime like it is now and you want to get things settled before the school year starts, you might only have 1 month's worth of inventory, right? So it's important to look at the data. So what are some key takeaways for buyers and sellers? Let's start with buyers first. Okay, so for my buyers, the demand is still high. I know a lot of you are unhappy with where the rates are, but a really important question to ask yourself is, how long are you willing to wait? The other thing is, historically, if you Google the history of interest rates for the US timeline, and you will see that there's only been 2 times in history where the rates have been sub 4%. Once near 2008, when there was the bank bailout crisis, and during the pandemic. The lapse of time between those 2 periods was about 15 years. So the question you need to ask yourself is, when's the next likelihood that we're going to see sub 4% rates, right? The other thing, as a buyer, if you wait, like we talked about in our last video, more than likely everybody else who's waiting is going to pour back into the market, and you're going to be once again in the same situation a lot of people were during the pandemic, having to front a lot more cash to get the offer accepted and be in competition with other buyers in our market who are waiting for the rates to go down. Okay, so my sellers, here's some advice from my sellers. It's still a pretty good time to sell your home. As you can tell from the zip codes in various areas, price per square foot is still trending upward. And the advantage that you have right now as a seller is that most of your offers are going to come from buyers who are already very, very qualified, especially with where the rates are. And more than likely, you're going to get multiple offers because the demand is still high and inventory is relatively low. The other thing that you have going for you sellers is that you are in a better position to find that replacement property. Like I said before and earlier in the video and on my last video, if you wait to try to capitalize on the peak of hitting the price per square foot, which none of us have a crystal ball and can tell you that, chances are you're going to run into the same dilemma as a lot of buyers, having to compete against the buyers that are in the market and take what you made in your proceeds to then have to pay more for your replacement home and pay towards your down payment. So you have a couple things going for you right now, and it might be a wise decision to consider selling right now, so long as you price it intelligently and you work with a great realtor. I hope you found this video informative. I hope there were some key takeaways that you can implement right now. Remember, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out, send me a message, give me a call. You can also email me, and please share the video, share it with anyone that might be interested in buying and selling. And until next time, this is Eddie Silva with Guarantee. Take care.